Okay, so we're having some video challenges here with my PowerPoint presentation. So I've still got 44 of you, so hang in there, guys. So I want to talk to you about Faculty of Science. I am going to repeat myself a little bit, but I'll run through these slides maybe a little more quickly. Slide one was just for me to show you the makeup of the Faculty of Science. And again, if you look at the departments we have in the Faculty of Science, you would conclude that they look very similar to departments in other faculties of science at the University of Winnipeg. We offer 3- and 4-year degrees. Our 3-year degree is typically a stepping stone degree in my mind. Students use that degree basically as a stepping stone to a second degree, not always, but it does make for a good option for students who are considering other programs like, for example, medicine. Our 4-year degree, though, is required if students are thinking of graduate school. If you finish your BSc and you want to go on to an MSc or even a PhD, yeah, you would have to require, or you would have to complete a 4-year degree. Our full list of degree options, again, looks very similar to the earlier slide I showed, but all I'm doing here is throwing in a couple of other slides showing bioanthropology, biopsychology, and biochemistry. So these are other programs that are embedded within degree programs we have. So you can get a biochemistry degree, of course, but we don't have a biochemistry department, mostly because we don't really need one. The program requirements are met primarily by our 2 departments, biology and chemistry, for example. Similarly, with something like biopsychology, those degree requirements are largely met by the psychology department and the biology department. We also have a small number of joint programs with other institutions, psychiatric nursing through Brandon University, applied environmental studies from Red River College, geographic information systems, again through Red River College. And these programs, students quite often get their start at one of the schools, and I would typically say that students would normally do 2 years here at the University of Winnipeg, spend 1 year at Red River College to complete the environmental studies program, and then come back to the University of Winnipeg for 1 more year. But different students approach that differently. We do have a good relationship with Red River College for these applied programs. Finally, I should mention the radiation therapy cancer care Manitoba program, and this is a joint program we have in the physics department and with Cancer Care Manitoba. Students do a lot of their coursework here, not all of it, but they do a lot of it here, particularly the required courses in physics, because this is a joint program with physics and cancer care. Coursework is also done over at Health Sciences for specific cancer care courses in radiation therapy, and the hands-on aspects of this program are taught through Cancer Care Manitoba. So our radiation therapy program is not X-ray technician. Okay, this would be for treatment of disease. So this is radiation therapy. So quite a bit different than, for example, an X-ray technician. It's a small enrollment program. We typically have fewer than 10 students in this program, and students typically do 1 year of their BSc before applying for that program. Anyway, I give that program a little bit of a plug. We do offer pre-professional programs at the University of Winnipeg. And again, these pre-professional programs are designed for students to set them up and make sure you are getting required courses that will help you towards these career paths. So again, we don't offer medicine here at the University of Winnipeg. We're predominantly an undergraduate school. What we do offer is courses that will set you up for a program in medicine at a school that offers medicine, a school that has the Faculty of Medicine. It's pretty hard to do a degree in medicine without a degree already. So it's typically students that are typically getting accepted into these pre-professional programs, they often do have an undergraduate degree already. So students should be aware of that. So now that I've told you a little bit about the departments and possibly some of the choices you might want to make at the University of Winnipeg, you might want to know, you might ask this question if you go to a booth, why study science at the University of Winnipeg? Well, my short answer for that is small class sizes and outstanding teaching. So for your BSc degree, I think it's really important for you for students to have an opportunity to meet and talk with their professors. It's such a superior learning opportunity when you can meet with people and actually talk to them. So there's a real advantage to learning with small class sizes, that's for sure. Our first year class sizes are rarely larger than 100. We do have some first year classes that are larger than 100, but not very often. Our second year class size is typically anywhere from 30 to 60 to 80 at the most. Our third year undergraduate courses in science, anywhere from 10 to 20, and then our fourth year courses are typically fewer than 15. So just to give you an idea of what your classroom would look like in that respect. By fourth year, with your class sizes between 8 and 30, you're even by second year, your profs start to get to know you. We also have teaching labs with a number of our courses, particularly our lab-based courses like chemistry and biology. And our caps for our labs are typically on the order of about 24. They can be less. It depends on which lab we're talking about and which course we're talking about. So some of our more specialized lab-based courses would have certainly caps of significantly fewer than 24. They could be 16 or 12, depending on the lab and depending on the equipment that's required to teach those labs. Forging ahead. Why study science at the University of Winnipeg? Well, there's a number of reasons, and I'll go through a handful of slides here. Excuse me. So why study science at the University of Winnipeg? Well, professors in every department provide research opportunities for our undergraduate students. So it's not uncommon for many, if not all, or almost all, of our professors to have students working with them, sometimes in the summer, quite often in the summer, but sometimes during the school year. Students are employed in various research labs and in various capacities. And the reason for that is you're learning all the way along, starting from first year. And your learning prepares you for this type of work, no matter what your major is, whether it's anthropology, geography, physics, or chemistry. Some of the pictures I'm showing here on this slide are professors that some of them I've worked with. And in some cases, these are professors that carry out successful field work, observing large mammals in southern Manitoba, or doing separations like chemical separations in labs, or organic synthesis. As well as the opportunity to work with some pretty great people, I think. We also have world-class facilities here for students to access. World-class facilities, world-class labs. And not all of them, but many of them are located in the Richardson College for the Environment and Science Complex. So this is the building right on Portage Avenue. with a bunch of chemical symbols on it. When you get an opportunity, when in-person learning starts again and students can and people can get together again, I would invite you to come inside this building and have a look as soon as we're open again. Our undergraduate labs, well, they typically look like this. And actually, they look like this right now because they're awfully clean and they're not filled with people, as we're focusing right now on remote learning. But these are the labs that our students typically work in at the first year all the way to fourth year levels. And again, this is what our teaching labs would look like. So world-class facilities in terms of ventilation, water quality, working with pure water, distilled water, deionized water, proper ventilation, fume hoods, and a very safe environment as well. Our research labs, well, they're busy places. So what we have are busy places with lots of people. And so the lab itself the research lab quite often looks a little more cluttered. And on this picture is one of my students, actually, my PhD student in the bottom right, and an undergrad working. They're in a lab where we carry out separations of large molecules and dimolecules. Other opportunities for undergraduates who come to the University of Winnipeg, well, we have student clubs in most of our departments. We have undergraduate student conferences. We have students of science associations. We have a math and science tutoring center, so students who are struggling in first year courses, second year courses, you name it, they can access one-on-one free tutoring at our math and science tutoring center. More recently, we also established a Canadian section of the American Indian Science and Engineering Society, which is a fantastic opportunity for students to connect with other science students, other Indigenous students. Really good. University of Winnipeg also offers field courses every year, although field courses last summer were put on hold, of course, for obvious reasons due to the pandemic. But in any normal year, we do offer field courses, primarily geography, biology, and environmental studies have cornered the market on our field courses, and in particular, our geography program. We have students that enroll in these short but intense 2-3 week courses and go to really interesting places and study really interesting problems as part of their undergraduate degree. So these are some photos that I've picked up. They're not photos that I took, but they're photos that I've taken off our websites from geography and environmental studies just to show what our students are doing in these field courses, whether they're in Mexico or northern Manitoba in Churchill. These are really positive experiences for our undergraduate students. They always come away with a very positive experience. Can't say enough good things about field schools. They often change the way students think about their undergraduate program and the way they think about the world. Numerous undergraduate research opportunities. I alluded to that a little bit earlier. Our undergraduate students are often highly engaged in our research activities at the University of Winnipeg. Typically every summer, a large number of undergraduate students, particularly third and fourth year, are hired to work in research labs as research assistants, for example. Professors, a number of professors also hire undergraduates as markers and lab demonstrators, so students, if they're interested, there are opportunities. And then many undergraduates are often included, if they are doing research in a lab, they're often included in peer-reviewed publications, as well as conference presentations. We have students that attend undergraduate chemistry and undergraduate biology conferences every year. Although this year, I think they're going to be virtual events, nonetheless, these are really positive experiences where student researchers, undergraduate student researchers, have great opportunities to meet with other students who are doing similar work but in other schools. Okay, forging ahead. And so where do you go with a science degree from the University of Winnipeg? After you finish your degree, what happens? Well, most of our students, frankly, go down three paths, and I wouldn't say all of them, but most of them go down three paths. Typically, graduate school. We do offer graduate schools here at the University of Winnipeg. We do have graduate students here at the University of Winnipeg. So when I say graduate school, it could mean here at the University of Winnipeg, but also other graduate schools, either in the province or out of province. Professional schools, absolutely. Students that major in biology, chemistry, biochemistry, kinesiology, those are often degrees that are used as stepping stones for professional schools like dentistry or medicine. And of course, employment. A number of my students, a number of students here at the University of Winnipeg find themselves going straight to employment. So the employment opportunities, for example, applied computer science right now is super hot. The employment opportunities are excellent for these students, as I would say they are for all of our science majors. Okay. So maybe one final slide. I am a chemistry professor. I teach analytical chemistry, and I've been teaching analytical chemistry here at the University of Winnipeg since 1997. And so, yeah, I keep track of my students and where they end up. And some of them end up in unusual career paths that you might not expect for a student who is a chemistry major. So of course, a number of my students have gone on to become chemistry instructors at different schools, including Red River and University of Manitoba. A lot of my students have ended up in the Manitoba government. One I can think of is in industrial hygiene. I had a student who ended up in law school, even though I teach chemistry, and she did a chemistry degree. She did go into law school at the University of Alberta. I've had multiple students every year go on to pharmacy, dentistry, medicine, and a smaller number going on to veterinary school and even optometry. Graduate school is probably the most common, and a lot of our students, once they complete their degree here at the University of Winnipeg, do go on to graduate school at the University of Manitoba and University of Alberta. We have had partnerships in the past, but I would say if students are thinking of a career path in engineering, physics and math are definitely important. And students I have had students in my own classroom who've gone on to engineering as a second degree. And of course, I have a number of students right now, probably 3 that are working for the City of Winnipeg in wastewater and water treatment, and of course in local industries such as ALS Labs, Maxim, Polycast, Genviron, and Duha. Oh, so those were students. I can tell you where they've actually ended up, my own students. So let's see, I think that's the end of my presentation. And so I hope I was able to provide you with some useful information. And of course, I'll be at the Faculty of Science booth. If anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate to stop by the booth or stop by the chemistry biology booth, as well as math and geography. I can assure you they'd be all very happy to talk with all of you. So on that note, then, what I'll do is